Hey everybody, this is Kelly of Rojo Chief Clothing, and as you see right here, this is my Instagram, and I'm going to click on my link tree. That's going to send you to all of my links: Anchor.fm, the YouTube channel that you already know about, my online clothing store, and my Facebook page, so you can follow me. Alright, so Anchor.fm, that's my podcast. So stories or news that I'm not going to post on YouTube, you can find them on my podcast, and you can listen to them on Spotify and also on Breaker and other, podcasts. Okay. Then, as you may or may not know, this is my online clothing store where you can find fashions on here for men, women, kids, and babies. So, let's get ready for the show. Fertility rates for white women plummets below the limit needed to maintain the population in every single U.S. state. Fertility rates for white women were low in every U.S. state in 2017, but up in 12 states for black women and up 29 states for Hispanic women. The total fertility rate for the U.S. was 16% below the level of the population to replace itself. It was only higher than what is needed in two states, South Dakota and Utah. Fertility rates for white women were down in every U.S. state in 2017, below the rate needed for the population to replace itself, and a new report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reveals. However, among black and Hispanic women, fertility rates were up in 12 and 29 states respectively. When researchers looked at fertility rates for women of all age groups and races, they found that nationwide rate was 16% lower, what is considered the level for a population to replace itself. Experts say this is likely due to the fact that the large portion of native-born women are having fewer children than before, while the much smaller portion of immigrant-born women are having more children. Okay, so I'm going to leave that right there, and then I'm going to have the link below to this article so you guys can read it if you like. U.S. birth and fertility rates in 2020 dropped to another record low. Births fell for the sixth consecutive year to the lowest level since 1979. The U.S. birth rate is so low, the nation is below replacement levels, meaning more people die every day than are being born. The U.S. birth and fertility rates in 2020 dropped to another record low as births fell for the sixth consecutive year to the lowest level since 1979, according to the new data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention National Center for Health Statistics. The number of births in the U.S. declined last year by 4% from 2019, double the average annual rate of decline, 2% since 2014, the CDC said in a preliminary birth data released Wednesday. Total fertility rates and general fertility rates also declined by 4% since 2019, reaching record lows. The U.S. birth rate is so low, the nation is below replacement levels. This is why the agency didn't directly attribute the overall drop in births to the COVID pandemic. It looked at birth rates among New York City women who delivered their babies outside of the 5 boroughs during the height of the outbreak in the U.S. Women fled the city to give birth from March through November last year, with out-of-town births among New York City residents peaking in April and May at more than 10% for both months, and more 70% increase from the previous year. Among white women, the percentage of out-of-town births were 2.5% higher in 2020 than 2019. Out-of-town births among black and Hispanic women were considerably lower and increased only for 2 of the months last year. Overall, the number of births declined 3% for Hispanic women, 4% for white and black women from 2019 through 2020. Okay, so if you would like to read this article, I will have this article below. So as you see that, white women in all of the states, just about in the United States, are having a hard time, conceiving. So in my opinion, I feel like they're attacking the indigenous women because they're outproducing them. they were classified as black, Negro, colored, and as of lately African American, that they are committing genocide against these women because the indigenous women are creating more babies than white women. And to me, that's what it seems like. Seems like a thing of maybe envy or jealousy or something like that. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. Hey everybody. So as you saw in my video that I had from Kelly Six Stories, my other channel, that I made mention of the fact of how white women are having a hard time with fertility, with reproducing themselves. So in this article here, it talks about how they are using dead women's wombs. Now you have to think to yourself, where and who are they getting these wombs from? Me personally, I believe that these wombs are coming from the indigenous woman of the Americas, the so-called black woman, the so-called Hispanic woman of the Americas, the American Indians. That's what I think these wombs are coming from, okay? Now, it says here, Cleveland, the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio says it has delivered the first baby in North America from a womb transplanted from a dead donor. Uterine transplants have enabled more than a dozen women to give birth, usually with wombs donated from a living donor, such as a friend or relative. In December, doctors in Brazil reported the world's first birth using a deceased donor's womb. Now, I'm going to have this link below, and I also will have the link to my other video. Okay, so this is a story that it happened February 20th, 2020, and it says, father of two sues Los Angeles hospital after wife dies during childbirth. She's just not our priority now. This is what a father of two was told when he told staff at an LA hospital his wife was not well after giving birth. Kyra Johnson Wright and her husband Charles Johnson with their oldest son. She's just not our priority now. This is what a father of two was told when he tried to inform the staff at a Los Angeles hospital about his wife giving birth to their second child. It says the tragedy is nothing new for black women. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the American Heart Association. Okay, so as you heard in my video about Kyra Johnson, in my opinion, I feel that they are purposely killing our women, our indigenous women, black women, also known as American Indian women, that they're doing this in order to save white women and give white women a chance at being able to have a baby by using the body parts, the womb of the so-called black woman, the American Indian woman, to be able to help white women have children, either by using the womb from the American Indian body, female body, or by using the melatonin from her body. Now in this video, American Indian Necromancy, Sex and Fertility Magic, and Doctor Strange in the Multi-Universe of Madness. Now, in this movie, they showed fertility magic coming from the American Indian culture as well as the African culture, because they had mentioned the Book of Ashanti, and we know that ties into African spiritualism. And we know that they were tapping into or talking about hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, okay, when it comes to American Indian magic and necromancy, which is a part of our ancestral magic. They were talking about all of this in the movie. Now, as far as fertility is concerned, as you saw in my other previous videos and readings, that how the European woman, the white woman, is having a fertility issue, and how they are using the wombs of dead women in order for them to procreate, for them to create children. And I feel that was pretty much the main storyline in this movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now you have to think to yourself, with so-called black women having 3 to 4 times the rate of death during and after childbirth, could it be that they're taking the wombs from these so-called black women, the American Indian women, and they're using these wombs in order to help white women give birth? Or, and also, could they be using the melatonin from the dead American Indian women in order for them to bring life into the world? And was that symbolically shown in the movie Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when Doctor Strange told America that your sacrifice is for the betterment of the multiverse? These are things you got to look at, because they tell you exactly what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. It's just that you have to study your own culture and know your own culture, and also study your own magic, your ancestral magic, in order for you to understand and to know and have wisdom into what is really going on in the environment of which you live from an esoteric level. This is why it's imperative for you to know your own spiritual systems and your own magic, and to tap into that magic, and to tap into your ancestors, in order to know, who you are, and to have wisdom onto what's going on the spiritual side of things, as well as what's happening to you physically by your enemies in the Americas. Please like this video, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I drop a new video.